Good evening. You're watching the Cheese Room podcast. Thanks for joining us once again this evening. I'm joined by some very special guests and HG. So first, how are you?
Yeah, I am the least special, but we're still more special than you. So thank you, caller. I'm doing well.
I'm hurt. I'm genuinely hurt. Shan, how you doing? Shirt buddy, how's it going?
Friend.
Yeah.
Football friend.
At least you can relate to that. We were playing Rage Against the Machine in the pre-show, and Shan's never heard of them, which made me feel really old. At least Holly's heard of them. Shan, you all right?
I'd heard of them. You just didn't tell me who they were. I was just listening to shouting. So it's quite hard to establish who they were, to be honest. But yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Good to see you again. Recovered from your 6-hour transfer deadline day special?
Have you seen these bags? They are because of the 6-hour deadline day special. Honestly, I've never felt so dead in my life afterwards. But it was good. It was a good show. So
exhausting, but worth it because we signed one player. So we'll come on to him in a little bit. Michael, welcome back. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Good to be here again. A little bit bored in the international break, to be honest. Just waiting for the Premier League to come back. But yeah, all good.
Yeah, I hate the international break, to be honest. There's too much time between matches. What are you shaking your head?
It's Austria versus Scotland tomorrow night. This is news here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I might watch it, but I probably won't. Yeah, it is big news for my friends, but well.
And joining us, also making a Cheese Room debut. I've only been trying to get her on the show for about 6 months, which is longer than we've been going. Holly, how are you? I see you've got your blow up Harry Winks. What is that all about?
I bought him just for you. I've left him there just for you. I could have taken him down, but I thought, nah, cool. I'd love to see his face. So, no, I'm so excited to be here. Like I said, I've been a bit of an egg and not been about because I'm normally asleep by 9 o'clock. But it's nice to join you all.
Well, I wish I got to sleep at night. I can tell you that for nothing. So, welcome to the show and a packed one we have for you tonight. Before we start that, I just wanted to say I know I've offended some people with some words I said in a previous show, and I just want to say, I'm truly sorry if that caused offence. It was a throwaway comment and not actually aimed at anybody, maybe one person, but not aimed at anybody else. So I absolutely shouldn't have said that. It's not fair. I actually don't like Levy very much myself, and I like him even less now he's only offering vegetarian options at the stadium. I've actually got my vegan sweets ready for the show, Candy Kittens, because they're actually quite nice. Yeah, we'll talk about veganism in detail later. So look, thanks for watching us. If you're watching at home, if you're watching on catch up, welcome. If you're watching live, drop us a comment in the comment box. We'd love to hear where you are, what you're doing, and what you're making of our title tonight, a Royale with cheese, which we will absolutely come on to, Mr. Royale, during the show. But first, let's talk about the International Week. So the big story, really, Argentina versus Brazil was slated to be a classic match until the health officials intervened after, 7 minutes, HG. What on earth is going on?
I wouldn't mind, but they only played each other a couple of months ago in the Copa America. Yeah, it's Brazil-Argentina. Anything can happen in those games, but I don't think anyone's seen what we saw last night. Yeah, what to say? I'm sure people will know this, but Brazil decided that they would wait until the game started before trying to get the players who are based in the UK off the pitch, which meant, our two boys, Christian Romero and Giovanni Lo Celso, and then, of course, the Villa guys as well. It's like, I want to say it's nothing, but it's clearly COVID related, so it's quite serious. But from a football perspective, no one looks good in this. Spurs look terrible. The players look awful. Everyone just looks kind of dumb. And yeah, I don't think anyone comes out looking good at all.
Holly, what's your take on this? I mean, it's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? I've never seen anything like it in my life. Only Spurs could have something to do with this, surely.
I know, I hate saying it, but it was Spursy, wasn't it? You think of all the clubs it could have been, they had to been 2 players from Tottenham, couldn't it? I thought it was like something out of Only Fools and Horses, to be honest. It was quite comical. And then you sit there and think, actually, okay, this is about COVID. I need to chill out a little bit. But yeah, it was very strange. I think in the last maybe 20 to half an hour, they've said that those players have now been released. So Romero and Lo Celso are apparently on their way home or something. I don't know how true that is, but apparently that's the rumours floating around.
I heard they're going to Croatia, I think, to train with Davinson Sanchez. Yeah, Croatia. Okay. So they can keep their training up there.
Just bizarre. Shan, have you ever seen the like of it? It's just like next level weird, isn't it?
I mean, trust us to sign a top class defender and then him just make himself unavailable for 3 games. Like, it's just, you couldn't make it up, could you? And like Holly said, only Spurs. Oh,
yeah. Does anyone know? I think it's obviously the Palace game they're not available for, and I think the first Conference League game as well.
Yeah.
But I guess if it is 10 days, then they'd be in theory back in time for the Chelsea game, which is good. I mean, let's face it, like it's only Sanchez that has really played this season, so we're having to make one change for the Palace game. But it's just a massive cluster, isn't it? I mean, like the whole thing, like it's great for the guys. They get to spend 10 days in Croatia. The weather's still pretty good. I'm sure they'll accidentally find some facilities right next to the water. And but all of this could and should have been avoided had the club just put their foot down and said, no, you can't go. Like, it sucks because it is a massive game. Brazil-Argentina is always massive. And, with the qualification as it is, Argentina will probably need the points a bit more, but still, it's just not now. Like if everyone else is restricted, then it's almost fair. Like Argentina will only they'd only have missed our 2 players and the Villa keeper. I think all the ones that are based in Italy and stuff, that there's no issue with them. It's just the ones based in the UK. So it just feels like Argentina could have done without them for this round of fixtures. And they could have been happily in England doing whatever they'd be doing with Nuno and the boys. It's, as I said, no one looks good, but it's just ridiculous that it's even come as far as it has.
It's difficult, though, isn't it, Michael? Because you don't want... The Spurs are almost in a no-win scenario. I mean, should they have just outright locked their players down and banned them from going? Is that what you'd have done? Because it's difficult to turn around and telling people you cannot play for your country. What's the solution?
I was a little bit confused at the start because I heard that Spurs would get fined if they didn't release the players in the first place. So maybe Spurs were trying to do the lesser 2 evils. I don't know. But with COVID, I think you should put your foot down and say, look, you're not going. In hindsight, that would have been the best plan. 2 players would have been back at Hotspur away and training and getting their heads down without all this mess and all this public embarrassment, if you like. For me, I think they should have just done that and said, yeah, you're not going. But like you said, trying to tell players you can't play for your country is not easy at the same time. But yeah, like I said, I was confused. I was hearing that Spurs were going to get fines, and now I'm hearing Spurs are going to fine the players. So I don't know if Spurs are just trying to save a fine for themselves. I don't know.
Anything to save a couple of weeks' wages.
A couple of weeks' wages in the back pocket, yeah. But yeah, like I said, I'm slightly confused by the start of it. Anyway, it looks a little bit more clear now. But yeah, the very start of it, I was thinking the Spurs going to get fined for it, and the players just going without permission. I didn't know because as soon as the Watford game finished, you see Lo Celso and Romero on a plane.
Yeah.
Didn't you straight away within an hour of full time they were off. So I was thinking, maybe the club would let them go. But honestly, I'm really confused. And it is really embarrassing for everyone involved, as HG said.
It's just the comedy never stops with Tottenham Hotspur. That's the thing. It's like, honestly, it's a punishment for life being a Spurs fan. And talking of punishment, Mr. Muir says, Holly, this is coming your way. As a punishment, should they be available to be picked for Chelsea, do you think?
I think, like we've all kind of mentioned, it's just difficult to punish. Who do you even punish in this situation? Do you punish the players for wanting to go to play for the national team? Do you punish Tottenham for letting them go, or do you actually punish the organisation itself? But again, it's COVID. It's a global pandemic. I just don't really know where to sit on this one. I think at the moment, obviously, we know that partnership with Davinson Sanchez and Dyer is working, but will that necessarily work against Chelsea is another matter. So it would have been perfect to maybe shift Romero in that game, partner up, whether that be Sanchez or Dyer next to him. But again, I think it's just an utter mess to try and unpick right now. Like I said, I just think do you pin it on the global pandemic? Do you say, okay, you need to not go because this is a one in a lifetime situation where the whole world is undergoing this pandemic? Or do you think to yourself, actually, well, it's football, they get tested all the time. Okay, yes, they're moving across to another country, but they're always tested. So I don't understand what necessarily was the Brazilian kind of stance in it. I mean, yeah, it's just a whole mess. I think that's the only way I could put it.
Because there was talk about forged paperwork and everything, wasn't there, as well, to get the players through to kick off. So again, I don't know how much truth's in that with the paperwork, but obviously Brazil must have got duped somewhere to allow that to go 7 minutes into kickoff.
Does seem so. Some strange.
Yeah, duped or deliberate. I mean, like the thing is, like those players live in the UK. Everyone knows that. It's not as if they're flipping Winston Bogart and they live in Holland and they fly over by helicopter for training every day. Like everyone knew that they couldn't go. The rules were in place. It's not like they've changed while they were away on holiday and now we're like screwed. We all knew. So it does feel a bit like, I think Spurs probably thought, okay, we'll do a deal where you can go for the first couple, then you only miss a couple of games rather than doing all three, because the Chelsea game is, it's a massive game. And not just because we're top, it's because we're Spurs. Spurs-Chelsea is always huge. But I just think that, there are rumours that the Argentine FA were like blackmailing the players a little bit and saying, like, if you don't come, then we won't pick you again. Maybe feel like, well, there you go. Thank you, Mole Joe. Because with the World Cup only being 15 months away, it's a pretty strong threat. Like if you get moved out, then that's a problem. And for Martinez and Lo Celso, they're starters for Argentina. So it is a weird one. But with COVID being COVID, you'd have to think that someone realizes, hang on a second, like people's lives are affected with this. It's not necessarily about the rich can do one thing and the poor people can't, all the rest of it. It's basically the rules are in place. We can respect it. We should respect it. And Spurs probably tried to hedge their bets. The Argentine FA probably did what Levy would do and tried to renegotiate once the things had already taken place. But I hope that they'll learn from it, because it's going to happen again in 5 weeks until the next set of fixtures.
Round,
and again in November. So I can't imagine they'll go again. This is just a one-off deal, and the Argentine FA will just have to suck it up, because there's no way that any English club is going to allow this to happen, because they've seen what's happened now.
Yeah, definitely.
Shan, what do you think about this then? So this one. Would we talk about punishing players if it was England players going to play a competitive game against Germany? So you do have to put the shoe on the other foot, don't you? I mean, it's the national team. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if the club have theoretically said you cannot go to Germany, then they should be fined. If the club have said no and they go anyway, it's breaking their contract. Then they can't go to work, and the employer, which is Spurs, is paying them to turn up to work. So I think it would be a case of, if Germany was a red list country and England were going to Germany to play them, I don't think the FA would allow it to happen anyway. But if they did, then I think it would be the same. I think then the players, they should be fined. But Bren coming up with the jokes.
He's always got the jokes, hasn't he? I've got to say, the title of this one, The Royale with Cheese, was his idea, and this is a great shout. Spurs have had more players deported from Brazil this week. 2. I love the way he's put it in brackets. 2. The last 4 goals this season. Yeah, I mean, we've just got to revel in that a little bit longer, haven't we? We've got at least another few days top of the league. So
I like how he's limited it to just this week. I mean, surely ever would have worked as well. Yesterday at 7:34 p.m, Spurs had more people deported than Arsenal. And the thing is, that works with anything, right? Yeah. Anything above 0.00. Like your average non-alcoholic beer has more alcohol than Arsenal have points this season. It's brilliant. That joke will never die until Saturday, but it will never die.
I don't know. They're playing Norwich. I think Norwich could come away with a result. How funny would that be? That would be
6 point in September. 6 point
in September. It's absolutely brilliant. I love watching Arsenal get absolutely flamed. And bring it on in the comments. Stick your favourite Arsenal jokes in there. If we haven't already read them on a previous show, we'll get to them. And that should encourage some good chatting. I do like this. Is Sandro meeting it? Yeah, poor Brendan. If anyone doesn't know who's watching the show, he has met Sandro. Surely not. So where does this leave centre back options for the Palace game? So Holly, what are you saying? Who would you play at the back for Palace? Romero unavailable, Sanchez unavailable.
It's very tricky, isn't it? Do you go with Dyer? I can't believe I'm saying this. Do you go with Dyer and say Tanganga? I mean, Rodon now is apparently fit. He's in the Wales squad again. Do you chuck Rodon into that? I think it's quite nice to sit here and actually think we've got some sort of backline now to play with. I know sometimes that's a bit hairy because it can mess up, obviously, and de-joint things. But I think at the moment we haven't really got that option with the players that you've said that are out. So it is rather tricky. I mean, Tanganga's been putting a shift into right back, and now we've signed an actual decent right back. You'd like to hope. It is quite interesting. So I don't know. I think for me, the fact that Rodon's gone back to Wales, would it be too soon to chuck him into Palace? But then, what have we really got to play with? So it is interesting.
Shan, Tanganga at centre back, maybe. What are you thinking?
I think we could see a back three.
Go on then. Explain that.
I think if Sanchez and Romero are fit to play, but I don't even know who the back three would be.
Sanchez won't be back.
Yeah.
So your options are
Palace, isn't it?
Rodon. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it won't be a back three then, will it? I'm thinking Chelsea. I'm thinking well in advance. Yeah, Palace. Yeah, you're probably looking at Tanganga and Dyer at the back with the Royale with Cheese at right back.
Well, I hope Mr. Royale does make an appearance. Ian's got it all figured out. Back three: Tanganga, Rodon, Dyer, Emerson, and Reggie wing backs. I mean, he's picking the whole side there. We're just talking about the defense.
What about Ben Davies?
What about him?
Filling as a centre back. The left side is centre back. We've done it in the past. It's Ben Davies that's come in as a centre back. It's an option. He's a lot further ahead than Rodon in terms of fitness and training and non-injury. It's always an option. Obviously, I'd like to see Tanganga slot in there with Emerson coming in at right back, but it wouldn't surprise me if Ben Davies does get some sort of mention in there as a back three. If we go as a back three, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect a back three. I mean, I know we haven't done it in the league this season, but I think that's what I want to see. Just the idea. Palace have played Benteke up top, and we know he doesn't score that many. But I don't want 6'4", 6'5" Benteke jumping against Dyer and Tanganga. I don't. So if you go with the three, then Rodon can come in and maybe give that height at the back, because I would worry from set pieces. I really would. I mean, Dyer's no slouch, but still, Benteke has one skill, and that is it. So I just think that if Rodon plays for Wales and gets some minutes, then it could be Dyer and Rodon. We'll just go with two, and maybe Tanganga will play right back. And I'm not sure that Royale will come in and start on Saturday. I think he'll be eased in a little bit and probably play the Conference League game. But yeah, we don't want to make too many changes. I mean, if we did just switch, that's not a word. Switch Sanchez with Rodon, and then the rest of the team stays the same. You can do that.
Yeah. It'd be great to see Rodon back in there as well. It'd be great to see Rodon back on there.
Well, one man would be very, very, very happy to see Rodon is indeed pure. I have no idea what he's saying there, to be honest. My mum's Welsh. I haven't got a clue. I think that might be what it means.
So I thought it was about Shannon. It said like car fan. I don't know, like being in a car, a fan of that. I don't know, just something to do with Shannon's appearance a few weeks ago in a car.
Did what the car fan? There you go. That's my thing for Welsh. I know a few words of Welsh actually, but I won't offend anyone with. I'm being serious. My mum. My pronunciation is fucking awful. I just upset all the Welsh people. So, Kane's now 13 goals shy. 13 goals shy of Rooney's record, apparently, according to my run sheet. Dave Harris shout out. Hopefully it's accurate. Holly, is he going to smash it? And could we possibly see Kane breaking Shearer's record, Jimmy Greaves' record, and Wayne Rooney's record. That would be some going, wouldn't it, for a Spurs player?
It really would. But the thing is, the fact that he's here to stay and the fact that he's got off the mark already, you've got to sit there and think, okay, we'll put all the debacle and all the mess behind us. And the fact that he knows he's got the World Cup next year to focus on, I think actually works really well in our favour. I mean, you'd hope that a player wearing our shirt would put his all in, especially the likes of Harry Kane. So, yeah, I think he'll definitely smash the Wayne Rooney one. The other ones, will he still be at Spurs next season to do it at Tottenham? Who knows? But that's another question in itself. Hopefully, but yeah, why not? I mean, I would say he's coming into his prime now. You mean, you look at Ronaldo, and I know Ronaldo is world class, but we could sometimes maybe put Kane in that category. I'll probably get blasted for that, but you can. You slot Kane into pretty much any other side, and he's doing the business for you. So fingers crossed he'll do it in a Spurs shirt, but it is still quite a long way to go, but he's still got many years ahead of him.
What are you saying, Shan? Is he going to do it?
It depends on his glass ankles and whether they're tough. If it's toughened glass or fragile glass. If it's toughened glass, then he could potentially. But if the glass over time becomes a bit more fragile, like antique glass, potentially, one blow and you're done. So I don't know what it is with weird analogies at the minute, but yeah, it depends on his ankles. If they stay strong, then there's no reason why he can't break them all and get all the records. Obviously, whether he stays depending on whether he stays at Spurs for Jimmy Greaves one, but yeah, if his ankles go, then I don't reckon he's getting. I reckon he'll get Wayne Rooney's record. I don't know about Alan Shearer's one.
Dave's here in spirit. His shit jokes rain on. I like this one, actually. More exploration rovers have driven across the surface of Mars than Arsenal have points and goals this season. Very good. It's very highbrow as well, Mr. Sweaty Cockrell. I like that. I love that. Tottenham have had more stadium fires than Arsenal have had goals and points combined this season. I think that's superb. Some league teams have scored more goals than Arsenal. Let's go on, and we will go on. Yeah, absolutely.
Austria have scored more own goals than no. Anyway, I think the thing with Kane is that we all expect him to get there because England will get enough penalties to get him over the line when it comes to beating Rooney's record. But I thought the same about Michael Owen. 20 years ago when he was coming through, and he scored all those goals for England, and I thought, well, he's a certainty to break Bobby Charlton's record as it was then, and he didn't. He fell like 10 short because he had hamstring injuries, but that hamstring injury was at like 24, 25. I mean, he was much younger than Kane is now. So if Kane's issue were his ankles, then given the fact that players now are, I mean, those tackles that hurt his ankles, they're all kind of unfortunate incidents. It's not like it was 30 years ago when Van Basten was kicked out the game. Basically, his ankles were shot because of it. Just got kicked by defenders so much. So I think it's pretty likely that Kane will continue to be captain for a number of years and continue to take the penalties and, basically sing the theme tune and write the theme tune and do all of that. So yeah, Kane.
I think the qualifying groups help as well. I think the standard of teams in our qualifying groups over the last 2 or 3 tournaments, I think they're tailor made for Kane to smash Rooney's record. Really, if we can carry on like that.
What's worrying me slightly is he seems to be missing a hatful of chances so far playing for England in this international. He doesn't look quite at it, does he, Ollie? Is he still on the beach?
It might be. I don't know. I think obviously with everything that went on, whether it was his fault or he intentionally did it, I think it's still rattling in his head. And to be honest with you, when something like that kind of happens, it is quite hard to get over it. But the fact that he has banged some goals into the back of the net, yeah, okay, he's missed some opportunities, but at least he has it at the back of the net. And I think that's something to also think about as well. If he was really off his game, he'd be missing all of them. So yeah, I think that is still running in the back of his head.
It was a good header the other day as well, wasn't it? It was a good header, to be fair. And a good penalty yesterday or the day before.
True.
Yeah, so it was a great header, in the 4-0 the first game.
Look at all of you people having watched these games. I doff my cap. And there's no way. I mean, the Hungary game I was somewhat interested in, but the Andorra one, no way. Oh, is it Andorra and San Marino in the same group? I mean, this is David Nugent level of, it's just no.
San Marino scored the other day, didn't they? They scored more than Arsenal this season as well.
There you go.
San Marino.
Absolutely. Well, let's hope he does it in a Spurs shirt. That's what I'm hoping. And I've heard this week that apparently his brother is trying to renegotiate his contract, which I mean, yeah, there's a lot of Charlie Kane jokes, obviously. Shan, what do you think the chances are of Kane signing a new deal? 400 grand a week, apparently.
I think if Charlie Kane's negotiating it, then it's not very likely, is it? Honestly, if Charlie Kane's negotiating it, he'll probably end up with less money and a massive release clause. Because the guy is useless. I thought he'd been sacked as well, which just makes it even. I mean, I personally would love Kane to sign a new contract as long as the release clause is high enough that no one's going to pay it. Similar to what they did with, and I'm having a brain fart at the minute. Benzema has £1 billion release clause,
right,
and it's a 2-year contract, so no one's going to pay it.
Do you know, Charlie Kane might actually sort of negotiate that and think the billion clause is as bonus or something ridiculous. Holly, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think that he may re-sign this season? Can you see a new deal in the offing? And if that is the case, what would you set the release clause to be?
Well, that's a question and a half. I think if he is to re-sign, it will definitely have a release clause in it. And I think one that will be, I mean, after everything that's happened, I think he's hopefully got his brain switched on. Maybe not his brother, but I'm hoping he has. I think it would have to be something along the lines of what like Grealish kind of set, in the sense that if a Champions League team comes in for him and we haven't got Champions League qualification, then okay, you can go. But again, it has to be around that 135 mark. I think it's got to be, or one thing like to think that Grealish has gone for 100 and Kane they weren't even bothering. It's a mess, to be honest. I think it has to be at least 135, and it's got to be a club that's got Champions League football, and we haven't, so to speak.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I concur with that view. Let's talk a bit about.
Wait a second. Harry Kane would be an idiot to sign a new deal. I know I shouldn't say that, but he really would be an idiot to sign a new deal. The only leverage a player has is the length of their contract, and a release clause is only good if someone's willing to pay it. So to be like, oh, I've got a release clause, I'm all right. Well, yeah, but who's going to go out and pay 135 million for a 29-year-old striker next year? I don't know. Like,
no one done it this year, did they? No one's done it this year. Yeah.
And so next year, yeah, clubs might have a bit more money or be a bit more confident about spending it. And I think Man United would probably find the cash, if I'm honest. But if the release clause is high enough, then you just make it impossible. I just think that for Kane, if he wants, pay increase in exchange for this, I would just wait a couple of years and get one when you do move clubs for a fee that teams will pay. The idea that Levy, if you give him more leverage, he will use it against you. And as a Spurs fan, that's great. I'm a Spurs fan, not a Kane fan. I want Spurs to win whatever deal happens. But it strikes me as being like, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to extend my contract. So it won't finish in 2024, whatever it was. It will go to 2026 and he gets more money. You're just tying yourself to the club. As much as I want that to happen, right? I do want Kane to stay for his whole career. I just think, if I was advising Kane, I'd be saying, just play. Don't worry about it. You don't have to do what Sol Campbell did.
Well,
you can do what Aurier did. Just play as often as you can, and your contract will run out, and then you'll get the chance to go where you want at 30 years old, which is when Hoddle left. I just think that it's to try and push things through now would be silly.
Sorry, Michael, did you want to come in on that?
Yeah, I was just saying. I was agreeing with HD there. Just keep playing, and in his case, he knocks another year off his contract, doesn't he? It's another year shorter, isn't it? And the price comes down, doesn't it? I agree. Yeah,
I suppose so. But I suppose the thing is, he's still got 2 years. It's just going to take him to 31. So even if Spurs held him till he was 31, and maybe we wouldn't do that. But we've got form for it. Look what we did with Eriksen. We ran him down to right at the absolute last minute. So who knows? I can honestly see him signing a new deal. I know it would probably be the most stupid thing to do, but he's not got you representing him, HG. He's got Charlie Kane. So let's be realistic about it. I think that absolutely it may well be the case. Scarlett, good shout.
Have you seen that Charlie Kane's come alive on Twitter again, and the amount of abuse he's getting? honestly, some of the abuse he's getting is harsh, but true. Sadly,
it's not on though. Like now, like it's a pile on. Like we don't. It doesn't have to go like this for the rest of Charlie Kane's life. Like he made a mistake. We all know he made a mistake. But yeah, for everyone to send and for him to be involved, this is why people leave Twitter. And I don't think social media can be bad. Obviously, when you get examples like this, but it's a chance for you to to talk and to have somewhat conversations or with people that you wouldn't see otherwise. So. Yeah, I understand why the jokes are there, and I made them myself, but I will probably stop now because it's not all he is, surely.
Absolutely not. So if you've got a Charlie Kane joke, please drop it in the comment box. I will. Paul saying good point. Scarlett grabs England under-19s equaliser away to Germany moments after coming on the pitch. 2-2 for Dane. I can see him. Well, he's going to have to be back up. Do we think he's going to get Europa League time, Shan? Is he going to be the sort of face of the Europa League, the Europa Conference League campaign this season? It's not even the Europa League. Not even the Europa League.
Well, seeing as it's not even the Europa League, I think in the away legs, definitely. And then I think depending on what we need to do, because I think if we finish top, we go straight into the round of 16. If we finish second, then we have to go into a playoff round. Obviously, we want to avoid a playoff round if at all possible, because it's more games. But yeah, I think depending on how we're doing, I can very much see Dane playing a big role in it. And even if it is alongside Kane as well, or even if Kane don't play and Sonny does play, and one of them is getting a rest each time, but we have someone that we know can get goals on the pitch. But yeah, I think especially in the away legs, he's gonna be important, I think.
Farcical, isn't it, Holly, that we've still got no backup striker? Have you seen Dane play much? Are you happy with that Europa Conference, Dane up front for away games?
I think so. I mean, I would have loved the backup, but then who wants to play backup to Harry Kane? It's that age-old question all the time. I just hope it's not necessarily too soon for Dane, chucking him into games where you're going to be playing opposition that are probably going to kick his ankles and that you don't want to break him too early. But again, how else are you going to get experience? It's going to be in these types of games. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in those type of games, because obviously I think the game he featured on when he started, I think that we where Harry Winks played disastrously. I thought I'd get that in there.
Just always plays disastrously hard.
All right.
No, in fairness, I will say this: the Europa Conference League playoff home leg, I thought he was mustard and absolutely had found his level.
Brilliant. I thought it was going to be a nice comment then, and then you backhanded it. But like I said, I think it'd be quite interesting to just see the way we set up. But like I said, you've got to try these things, and why not do it in the Conference League? And like Shan said, away game is probably the best one for that rotation.
Excellent. 100 people watching. Please do smash a like. We're going to talk a little bit more about some Spurs-centric news. So apparently it's reported, I love this headline, the players are unhappy that Paratici, as I always get told off for pronouncing it wrong, and Hitchin are sitting so close to the pitch, and therefore the players at home games.
Oh.
Is he okay?
He's the one that's disappeared. Okay. So like Shannon, how do you feel about that happening? That they're so close to the bench. Do you care?
Caller's just frozen in the best. Like that shot is, he's just got the tiniest little bit of teeth and his face is all shiny. That is brilliant. But yeah, I think it's a load of bollocks. I mean, whoever it is leaking these stories to the Sun, Charlie Kane, I think he needs to stop, because they've come out with some absolutely ridiculous stories like, oh, the team aren't happy with Nuno. They don't think he's personal enough. It's like, well, obviously the team are quite happy with Nuno because we've won 4 out of 5 games. So, yeah. I mean, these stories, it's the Sun.
Like, I think outsiders just want to drag us down, don't they? No matter how well we do, they just want to drag us down. They try and do anything to rock the boat. I quite enjoy it. I think it's brilliant. He's on the bench, giving it large and jumping up and down and screaming at the players. Why not? I think that's what Tottenham need. I think we need a bit of like oomph from the bench, and Nuno needs a bit of support. And I'm all for it, really. I think it's brilliant. And we've won 3 games out of 3, so who can complain about that?
Do we want to see Levy doing it too?
Absolutely not. Could you imagine
imagine
it?
that.
Should
Be
we
less
just
of
not
an
let him
egg.
in?
Yeah, like
The sun
I
would
do.
be shining on his head too much. He'd be getting sunburn and all sorts.
I do wonder how Levy celebrates the Spurs win. You know, what does he do? Like check his bank account? I mean, it's
The scrolls.
yeah. But no, it's good. I mean, like
I think it's good.
yeah, people talk about passion in the players and how they love it when Lamela showed it. If Paratici does it too, and Hitchin follows along, then great. We just continue. Yeah, I don't think anyone has an issue with people connected with the club wanting the team to do well and berating the referee, just like we would if we were in the stadium. So it's a story about nothing. I can't imagine anyone would be upset about it. I really can't.
I think it's nonsense. I think it's rubbish. Yeah, just we just need to move on and just crack on in what we're doing. We're doing well and just carry on the same.
Well, clearly the Don didn't want me talking about it and cut off my broadband right at the precise moment that I was getting to it. I presume you covered off my question, HG?
Yeah, I think we did all right. Yeah, we had a bit of a fun at you and at your expense, but you can watch it back later, I'm sure.
What do you think, Caller? What do you think? Paratici on the bench,
I love it. I've never seen Steve Hitchin so excited about anything in all my life. If he does this during January, I am going to be impressed. That's what I would say. But in all seriousness, I think Paratici's been a breath of fresh air at the club. I think the video he did after the transfer window, it's propaganda, but you still want to hear from your director of football. You don't want to be, especially in this age of social media, you want to see people, you want to hear them, you want to know what they're thinking, and he sort of does seem to be quite good at giving us a window into that. So, I've got absolutely no problem with him being on the bench and being a bit animated. I love it. I'd be amazed if there really is a problem with the players, unless he's kicking off and swearing at them in Italian. Which, let's face it, Harry Kane barely gets English. He's not going to get Italian, is he? I don't think that's going to be a worry. No.
Do you ever think we'll get through one pod without you offending loads of people? It's become Adele, Movie Outers, Harry Kane.
I'm joking. I am joking. I'm a very jokey kind of guy. One thing I'm not joking about, though, was it a PR stunt? Do you think Hitchin and Dave, he's a lovely cynic, he's put this together. Do you think it's a bit of a PR stunt, Holly? And it's just about the director of football showing that he cares, or is it genuine passion?
I think with the way he does things, I think it is. I think he's generally being invested. Hitchin, on the other hand, I didn't even think he was an actual living being. I mean, the man that's like a mannequin 24/7. So to actually see him animated, I was a bit taken back. So hopefully it's not a PR stunt, because it'd be quite nice to actually see like the director of football actually engaged in the club that he's trying to direct, and the fact that he's taken little Hitchin under his wing. It's something nice to see, and hopefully it just stays up, because like we've all said, we all like to see someone that's involved in the club actually have a bit of passion and desire to actually want to see the players do well in things.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've covered this, but this might well be in something to do with the red zone. The COVID protocols, they all have to be in the same zone. Yeah. So it could be just a bit of that, couldn't it, HG?
Yeah, it could have been. And maybe they were there, or maybe Hitchin was down there last year and we just didn't see him because, no one really cared. I think that's the thing. Like Paratici and his phone must be the most photographed thing in the world. So it's people that are interested. Like we've had football without fans for over a year. They want to see more, access more content to the things that they went without. So the fact that he's doing what all of us would do, maybe it's not the most professional thing in the world, but you're at the football. Like no one cares about that really. You're at the football. You want your team to win, and it seems to be working.
I love this. Hitchin is a mannequin with Levy strings. Dance, Steve, dance. Yeah, I can see that. Aren't they supposed to be down there? It's down to who's being in the red zone. Exactly. Yeah, exactly what we were saying. Right, moving on. Other Spurs news. The world's first zero carbon elite level game. I love the way they added elite level so people couldn't talk about the
Forest Green. They can't talk about Forest Green. That's what it is.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a moment. So we've partnered with Sky. Do you know what the details of this are, Holly?
The fact the only game I've decided to go to so far this season is this bloody one. I mean, it just, yeah. I've got to now get a bike from Eastleigh all the way to Tottenham. That's going to be vibes, all on the south coast to Tottenham. But no, I mean, it's quite an interesting initiative. And then when you sit back and think the other team are the people that probably harvest the most fossil fuels is great, isn't it, really? It's quite ironic. But that being said, I mean, okay, we're in the 21st century. I suppose it's nice to do these kind of things, but I won't be eating a vegan sausage roll.
Well, let's go around the room and talk about vegan treats. Michael, have you ever had a vegan treat?
Never had vegan treats, never. Not even them sweets you got, I don't think.
Would you not even dabble? I mean, these are nice. So these are Candy Kitten, all good retailers. And they are, honestly tell you, tropical mango these are. And they taste lovely, but they're £2 a pack. So, you know, veganism comes at a price.
I see Greg's done the vegan sausage roll, but it looks a bit undercooked to me. It looks a bit pow. So I never bothered that. I swerved that, yeah. I did see that in Greg's though, but I swerved it, yeah.
HG, bit of vegan for you? I know what the answer to this is.
Yeah, of course. Look, my wife is vegan, so at home we eat vegan. I might sneak a bit of cheese in once in a while, but pretty much we're vegan. Yeah, I don't really care. I mean, like, as much as I think it would be a good thing if everyone ate less meat, right? Maybe not no meat, but just less for the environment and everything. I also don't think it's a big selling point for Spurs to be like, yeah, you know, net zero. I mean, like, we talked about this in our Slack group earlier. I'm pretty certain hospitality is still getting their, you know, cuts of lamb and all the rest of it. Can
you imagine Steve Diver, like, they present him, like, loves his lobster and his steak, and they present him some sort of, you know, bit of tofu. Yeah. Here you go, Steve. Yeah. Tofu and broccoli.
Exactly. So it's not going to happen. But the idea of being like net zero means that whatever we produce, we're now going to plant a load of trees and try and make it back to zero again, or pay that extra fee to Ryanair every time we fly over abroad. It's just no. It's a lovely idea. Yeah. But I don't think it really makes anyone think, oh, I'm so proud to be a Spurs fan that we're doing this. It's nice. But it's not a game changer in any way, and I don't think we're going to get fans from it. Maybe just piss off people like Paul Muir, who loves meat so much.
Well, apparently they're slaughtering a cow for him right now.
Surely something called net zero should be done at Arsenal, shouldn't it? Surely they've got it, have they? Perfect timing for Arsenal. This would have been perfect for them.
But Shan, are you excited about the range of vegan treats that we're going to offer? By the way, I'm not slagging off vegans because, quite frankly, I think we should eat less meat. But are you thinking about a non-meat treat at the game?
All I'm going to say about this is that the Watford game, when we were so late because the club shop took about 10 years to personalise this, and Jack tried to get. He wanted a sausage roll, but they had none, and his only option was a vegan pie. He was not very impressed. That's all I'm going to say.
Did he buy it? Did he like it?
Yeah.
Okay, you bought. Okay, he just didn't. Because that's the thing. Like, I mean, all of the chicken and pizza places and everything in the stadium, they'll be open, right? So, like, obviously the club will be selling meat to everyone. It's just a question of how they get it back to zero. And quite why Sky are involved. What are Sky going to do? Are they the ones planting the tree? Is that it?
They have a big PR thing about getting to net zero. They released the David Attenborough programs and various other things. So I think that's why Sky are involved. Look, I think it's a noble thing to do. I think it's a good thing to do. We should all drive a Tesla and ride the bus, green bus, and eat less meat. I think it's a good thing to do. And
or just
provider.
Or just not send our players to flipping South America again.
That's exactly
that would help.
Punchline. That's what I was going to say. But international travel, talk about Romero being on that plane like literally 40 minutes after. That's hardly the greenest thing ever, is it?
No.
So I don't know. Lots of comments coming in. I like that one. Chick King all the way. Can't beat a bit of Chick King. The pie and mash shop would be really busy that game. Yeah, absolutely. Is that where you're going for, Holly? Bit of pie and mash before the match?
Might mix it up. I've never actually been before, so yeah, I might give it a first go as a newbie.
Sounds interesting. I'm not sure what I'm going to eat. Probably a big sausage roll. No, I am sure I'm going to eat. There you go. So, are you all feeling quiz-tastic? So I've got a little international quiz for you. Yeah.
International. Oh, God.
International quiz, because it's an international week. I hate these international weeks, quite frankly. So we're going to go around. So if you're watching at home, you can play along by typing your letter in the box or just keep it in your head. Okay. So what's going to happen is I'm going to name the country and you have to guess how many players from that country have played at least one Premier League game, including sub-appearances for Spurs. So this is just the Premier League only. All are going after the vegans this week. I'm not going after the vegans, Brendan. That's ridiculous. For the record, this week I'm giving up alcohol. I'm going alcohol neutral this week. We'll see how long that lasts. So, first, did you get the rules before you interrupt me? HG.
Yeah, I got the rules. Let's just ask a question. We'll go from there.
All right, first one. Croatia. Give me a number. You can have, give me a letter. You can have A, which is 4, B, which is 3, or C, which is 2. So how many players have played a Premier League game for Spurs from Croatia? A4, B3, or C2? Holly, I'm coming to you first.
B.
B. Okay. Michael?
Yeah, I'm going B, 3.
HG?
Because he said Premier League, I think the answer is 3.
Okay, that's B. And B has to be different. Shan? A, B, or C? 3. 3 is correct. Well done. Modric, Panchia, and Chorluka.
That's right. But we should point out that Franco, who was watching, got it wrong and thought it was 4. Franco, you fell into the trap, mate. Pleticosa didn't play in the Premier League. He played a League Cup game. Oh, that's disappointing. Oh, no. Oh, it's awful that I brought that up. Really bad. Oh.
You see, you just sound evil when you're trying to, stick the knife in.
I'm a teacher. That's my job. My job is to stick the knife in. If those little bastards turn it on with me, then they get it back.
Okay. So the next question, Brazil. So how many players we have from Brazil in the Premier League? Is it A, 6, B, 5, or C, 4? It's quite hard, this. I'm going to go reverse order this time. Shan?
I'm going to go 5.
You're going 5. HG? You're not cheating, are you? You've got 5.
No, I'm not cheating. I'm laughing at this. Oh, no. Where's it gone? This one.
Love Cody.
I'm trying to think in my head. There's obviously Gomez and Gilberto and Lucas. Anyone else we can go on? I can't think of any more than that.
Right, so what are you saying then?
So what were the options?
If you're paying attention, you would know in class. A6, B5, or C4?
Oh, I'll go with C then.
All right, you're going for 4. Michael?
5, B.
5 and B. And Holly, you've had all this time to think about it and listen to everyone who's given you different answers. What are you going for?
I'm still none the wiser, so I'll go B.
Which is 5. So the answer is A, 6.
Oh, I missed it.
So I hate to say it, but Franco got that one right, HG.
He did. He's obviously Googling at home.
So the players, Gilberto, Vinicius, Gomez, Lucas, Paulinho, and Brendan's best friend.
Oh, Paulinho and Sandro.
I remember Sandro.
I forgot Paulinho. I had Sandro. I forgot that.
I forgot Paulinho and Vinicius, to be fair.
Unfortunately, Mr. Dos Santos was Mexican. Yeah.
Good.
I mean, his dad's Brazilian, though, so it should count. He's a Brazilian national. Surely that counts? I don't know.
I didn't write the quiz. Don't argue.
What about Damiel? Damiel played for us, did he?
Take it up with Dave. I wouldn't want to argue with him.
No, mate. Damiel knew.
Question number 3. Oh my God! A shame they forgot Sandro. Disgusting.
What kind of half friendship is that? Unbelievable.
You wait till Sandro hears about this. I tell you. Right. Question number 3 then. Belgium. We all love a Belgium at Spurs. Yeah.
All right.
Some more than others, don't we, Shan? But is it A, 4?
Hey,
Mate. Do you think Højbjerg is Belgian? Is that what you were going for?
I know that.
I'm really confused. Why I like Belgians more than anyone else.
Well, you must have liked Jan. He was lovely, right?
Yeah, but he's no
There you go.
Højbjerg,
Right,
is he?
Move on. I fucked up. Park it. Move on. A, 4. B, 5. Or C, 6.
What are the options?
Oh my god. A, 4. B, 5.
4, 5.
B, 6. 4, 5, or 6.
This
Holly.
is why I put it in a presentation so everyone can see.
Dave's not that technically skilled. He couldn't put it in a presentation. Holly, what would you like? 4, 5, or 6?
6.
C6. Michael?
I'm going B5.
B5.
Yeah.
HG?
I can only think of 4, so I'll stick with that.
Okay. And Shan?
Yeah, I'm going 4.
Okay. So the answer is B, 5.
Ooh.
And they are Dembele,
Yeah.
Toby,
Yeah.
Super Jan,
Yeah.
Nasa Chadley,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the 4.
and
Blondell.
Blondell.
Yeah.
Blondell.
Yeah.
There you go. Got to say,
Lovely.
I'm loving this. I've just seen that. I was thinking about that. And frankly, I'm taking it down very quickly. But it was. Maybe we'll put you in charge of next week's quiz. Right.
Thanks.
Number 4, Denmark. Obviously, you've got one. You'll like this one, Shan.
Yeah.
Right.
Denmark.
So you've got A, 2, B, 4, or C, 3. So, Shan. 2, 3, or 4.
I'm going to go 3.
Okay. HG?
I can think of 3, so I'm going 4.
Okay. Holly?
3.
3. And Michael?
Yeah, 3 as well.
The 3s are correct. The 3s have it.
Mm.
So,
Yay.
Alan Nielsen,
Yeah.
Ericsson, and Shan's man crush. There you go. Okay. All right. I'll put last one and then I'll put you out of your misery, right? Argentina. Another pop.
Bloody loads.
Wow, bloody loads. It's only the Premier League era, remember, because we all know that's when football started. So I like this, by the way. David wrote the quiz. What's PowerPoint? I'm on overhead projector acetate. I don't think Holly and Shan will even remember what they are.
I know what an overhead projector is. They used to put the hymns up in primary
Yeah,
school
the
with
little
one.
plasticky
And
things,
they
and you'd have to
bottom
move it.
That's it. Green pens and all sorts going on.
Yeah.
Teaching's come so far, I tell you. Right, Argentina, talk to me. So we've got the answers are 6, 7, or 9. So 6, 7, or 9. I'm aborting the ABC. It's just confusing.
Mhm.
Take the feedback on board, Dave. 6, 7, or 9. So, Holly.
7.
Okay. Michael.
I'm going to go 6. 6.
Okay. HG.
I'll go 9 just to be difficult.
It's not like you. And
No.
Shan.
7.
7. And the answer is 7.
Well done.
So people are, some of them are in the Hall of Fame, actually. Juan Foyth. Yeah.
Okay.
Legend.
Fazio.
Yeah.
Legend.
Tarico.
Tarico,
yeah.
Gazaniga.
Legend. Beautiful man.
Lo Celso. Romero.
In
and
prison.
And of course, the one, the only, my blow-up doll, Eric Lamela.
Eric Lamela.
Oh man, I forgot Lamella.
Oh, no.
Brilliant. He's out of my mind. I remembered Fazio over Foyt, which was pretty weird, but I forgot Lamella. Oh, that is the best news I've had in years.
There you go. The fact that you've erased him from your memory.
I don't remember him at all.
I saw a picture of him today doing a Rabona on Facebook, I think it was, or was it on Instagram? One or the other, doing a Rabona. Can never forget that. 2 Rabonas he scored. Don't think any of the players done that in the history of Tottenham, HG.
No, probably not. But I'd forgotten about it. So sadly, he had 8 years to do it. Well done.
So what? It never happened, right? Yeah.
No, it happened.
And
I mean,
he got sent off.
but against 2 really crap teams.
He got sent off as well straight after.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
That's Melo in it all over.
That is Dave's run sheet done. What do you want to talk about?
Well, should we open it up to the people who are watching? There's 100 people watching.
Absolutely. Watching. Drop your question in there. Can't believe this one. Bring back Seb, a professional quizmaster. Caller is a poor substitute. Dave, that's harsh. Sorry, go on. HG, you were going to throw something up?
No, there was something that came up. I can't see it now. Oh, yeah, this one from Wink.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, this one clearly didn't listen to the rules, did he? Vinicius never played for the Brazilian senior team. So,
But were they internationals? No, I don't think so. It was just with their nationality, wasn't it? In the quiz?
nationality. Wasn't there internationals?
Yeah.
Probably on the pop again.
You can't say that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's irony, but yeah, absolutely. Go on, sorry.
Everyone preferred my quiz caller, so.
Well, I'm not getting offended. It's not my quiz, so.
Yeah, but you haven't presented the quiz in a very quizmaster-like way.
It was a difficult quiz to get through in a quizmaster-like way.
All right. Here's a question from Paul. Paul. What do you think, Holly?
I'm hoping. I mean, there's a lot of hope when you support Tottenham, isn't there? So, I mean, he beefed out a lot when he went to Hoffenheim, didn't he? And there was a player there. But again, does he fit in over Reggie? Do we have to change the system to fit him in? Can he adapt? There's a lot of questions. I hope he can. But again, time will tell.
Okay. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, same. I think, is he better than Reguilon at the moment? Obviously not. So he's going to be sort of limited at defence. And you've got Brian Hill coming in as an attacking left-sided player. Is that going to hinder him as an attacking left-sided player? I can't see it in the near future, to be honest. I'd love to see him do well at Tottenham, but can't see it at the moment.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think we all want him to succeed, but you're right. It's where is he going to play? Because I don't think he's good enough defensively to play fullback, and I don't think he's got enough tricks to really be that left-sided winger. If we played 4-4-2, he might be useful as a left midfielder, but even then, you'd be looking to play other people over him. So it strikes me as a bit odd. I think he might go out on loan again in the second half of the season if he's not playing that much. And if he's injured now, like Franco says, then he may miss the Conference League games, which are the only chance he's really going to have.
Yeah, he's come home from England, isn't he? He's come home from England, so with a knock. So I was about to say the same thing. The Conference League could be brilliant for him if he can stay fit, you know?
Yeah. I'm just so disappointed in someone. It's just such a waste of money. 25 million quid for someone who can't even make the bench most of the time. He's 22 now? 21, 22?
21. He's 21.
You know, he may come good. But it feels like one of those players that we just wasted 25 million quid on. We could have look at you could have put that 25 quid towards a really good player.
Danny Ings.
Yeah, well, exactly. Let that sink in. Same transfer fee as Danny Ings, albeit in a COVID era, it's a bit different. But honest to God, it just drives me insane the amount of players that we've wasted cash on. There's another one, Jack Clark.
But it all comes down to that summer. We spent all that money on those 4 players, and then we changed the manager 12 games later. And those 4 players, I'm sure they were bought for a purpose. I'm sure that Pochettino knew what he wanted to do with them. But Sessegnon was injured super early. Lo Celso was injured super early. So he only really ever got to see Dombele because Jack Clark was on loan again. So it just feels bad because we haven't really found a way for them to do it. I'd love to know what Pochettino was thinking when he signed him, because there was an article in the summer of that year saying that those were the 4 players he wanted, and that we ended up getting them. So it's odd because there are question marks about all 4 really, but we hope that they find a way and they become useful. Because like even though 25 mil is a lot of money for a young player, you think you're buying something close to the finished article. Really, it's still. It's frustrating that he's never had the opportunity to play for Spurs, and it looks like he probably won't now. That's he scored in Munich for us, so he's clearly got it for big games. But I don't know. I don't want him in the 20, if I'm honest. When I picked my team for the last game, I forgot he existed, so he wasn't in the 20 then, and that's a bad sign. That puts you on the Eric Lamela scale of what I think of you. So it's I hope that he'll get opportunities, but I don't see it. I really don't.
Why do we keep wasting money, Holly? Jack Clark's another great example. It's just, I just want us to have a sensible transfer policy, really, honestly. And I will come to you. Sorry, one sec. I've just got to call it out because this is bollocks. Danny Ings, Danny Ings, absolute horse shit. I would have loved Danny Ings. I said, if you remember, that he's very injury prone, but absolutely for 25 million, I'd take him all day long. Bollocks, Dave. Thanks very much. Holly, sorry, over to you.
I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? I think now that we have obviously a director of football that hopefully has a bit about him and he knows what he's doing. I mean, you'd like to think so after the transfer window we've had. I think beforehand we were just kind of riding our luck, just chucking money at prospects that we hope are going to turn good. And I know you could probably say that about the people we've brought in now, but looking at the way that other clubs were necessarily after these players and the fact that we've got them when we've got them, I think kind of makes me feel a bit more confident that we're actually going out there to do some serious business this time rather than chucking some money and hoping, because that's kind of what we've kind of seen in previous years. The likes of obviously Sissoko, we bought him for 30 mil and then we were hoping he's going to come good, sell him on a bit more, or the likes of some other players, and you think to yourself, okay, he could have come a good talent, and then it's kind of retracted itself. So I don't know, it's interesting. I'm just hoping now that we actually are a bit more savvy with where we input our money.
You can see the youngsters we've bought this window look a bit more established than the youngsters we might have bought 3 seasons ago. With Brian Hill and Sarr, and they look a bit more established, a bit further down the road as players, don't they? That they could come in and do, become good within the next year or two. Obviously, Brian Hill looks pretty good already, and obviously there's a lot of hype around Sarr about how good he's playing in France, and give him another year there, coming into Spurs next season. I think they're the younger talent we're looking at now with Paratici looks a lot more established than what we were doing 2-3 seasons ago.
I think the interesting thing going back to Sessegnon is that I don't think Sessegnon played that well in the Premier League for Fulham.
No.
So, he was the best thing since sliced bread in the Championship when he got them promoted, and he was playing at 16, 17 every game. And there was that, I think, that summer where we could have got him for 5 million, and Levy didn't want to pay that much, when only paid 3, so he signed a new deal at Fulham, and then we paid 25. 2 years later? It just feels like not only did we get him at the wrong time because of our manager situation, we paid more money than we needed to because of when we chose to do it. And who was responsible for these purchases? Because I don't think Levy personally would go out and buy Ndombele for 60 million euros or Lo Celso for 40 million euros if he didn't think the manager was behind it. I don't think anyone really trusts Hitchin to spend that money. Maybe the Sessegnon deal is a bit more collaborative, but I just think that Jack Clark was clearly a Pochettino thing. I think there was no doubt that he saw something there. I just don't think if Levy is the type of person that people think he is, where he's short on money on a couple of occasions to get the players that we need, to then go and waste a bunch of money on players for no apparent reason is also not him. So it's a strange one because we are still dealing with the effects of that window. Sacking Pochettino, results-wise, you could look back and say, yeah, maybe that was a good thing. But when the players are concerned, if the new manager comes in and doesn't want you and doesn't think that you can do what he wants you to do, then it is suddenly 150 mil pretty much down the drain. And either you try and sell them as quickly as you can, or you see where we are now, where they're all still around, but not doing anything. Ndombele, I think, is in the Conference League squad, so he'll almost certainly play those games. The Celso's on the fringe, and the other two are either injured or with the kids. It's terrible, really.
Well, speaking of someone, and this isn't on the run sheet, but it's a great question. Dave, if you're watching, this is the sort of thing I'd put in there if I was writing it. Tongi Ndombele, obviously we didn't sell him, didn't manage to shift him on in the window. He's a talented player. Got to get the best out of him now, haven't we, Holly? I mean, he's got to come back into that side, but how do you reintegrate someone who doesn't really want to be there?
Well, to be honest, his distractions have left. So I'm hoping that will fuel him to actually be like, okay, my mates have gone now. I need to actually prove my worth, hopefully. I mean, I don't think the trio of Serge Aurier and Sissoko really did him any good, if that made sense. I don't think he really had his mind in the game. Yes, you could say he was happy in training, but if he's not going to do that on the match, or he's not going to seem that he's proving to Nuno that he's worthy of that match place, then he's not going to play. So I'm hoping now they've gone, he will kind of find that missing element that he's had, because we all know there's a talent there. He just hasn't necessarily got maybe the attitude or the motivation.
A Lacazette style distraction, or? Shan, what do you think? Tongi Ndombele's got to be reintegrated. How do we best do it?
Definitely not by getting Lacazette in the showers. That's definitely not how you want to do it. But yeah, no, I think it needs to be done. I agree with Holly. I've said it before. I think with Sissoko's only down the road as well, so it's not as if he's a million miles away. And obviously Aurier potentially also only being down the road playing for the Arse. He's still got his friends, but they're just not there distracting him in training anymore. Yeah, I think that'll be a big help. Because he always looks happy enough to be at Spurs. It's just whether he's got that little bit extra to give Nuno what he wants to then get into the starting 11. I think he'll probably play in the Conference League until he can prove his worth. And I think a big problem with Ndombele for Nuno will be his fitness. He's never been the fittest. He's never finished 90 minutes. And for Nuno, that'll be a big problem. So he needs to work on his fitness, and then I think we can go from there.
Yeah. HG's, is he going to be happy? I suppose he's got Chick King on the doorstep.
Perhaps I want to see the good in this. Like I do think that Ndombele, and we've said this on previous shows, like having Mourinho as your coach for most of our players was a joke the last 18 months. You know, he did it to Delhi, he did it to Ndombele at the start of things. There were other players that were found in the. So it's just time to like, look, Ndombele. Okay, I think over the summer he said he wanted to go, and so Nuno was planning on not having him around. And I think Nuno saw it as a, maybe as something he could use to get players that did want to be at Spurs. But now that Ndombele's here, it is in everyone's interest, I think, that we get it going. So Ndombele will get his chances. I suspect there will be games where Skip and Højbjerg won't start every Premier League game. And if Lo Celso's injured, then it's Winks or Ndombele. And I think all of us would probably prefer to have Ndombele in those situations because he is a better player. You just hope that he gets his head in the right space. I don't know. I don't know if I really believe that Aurier and Sissoko were anti or that weren't helping, because they did help him settle. Like, COVID hit, so he was home alone. I mean, all those things that were bad for us. Just because you have more money to spend on Amazon doesn't make it any easier. So I just hope that if things are getting back to normal in the UK, and I don't know if they are, but if they are getting back to normal and he's able to play some football and to still be around his friends and still, like, his English is good now.
Yeah,
I think that he's in a much better position to do what's required. And if he chooses not to now, then I think it is on him. But the last 2 years, I do think I'm possibly looking for excuses to help him out, but I think that they're there and they're obvious, and so those they don't exist anymore.
It is fairly back to normal here. You can go to the cinema or pop to a restaurant and fill your boots. So from that perspective,
So that now it's him on the training pitch and it's his application. And I think, like, yes, Mourinho never loved him. I think that was fair to say. He gave him opportunities to play, but it was in a defensive team, and someone with the skills that Ndombele has, you don't want them in your own half. You want them further up the pitch. So again, these are all excuses as to why we haven't seen what we wanted to see, what we thought we've bought, what we know he can do. But I hope that Nuno, if we choose to play a bit more forward thinking, Ndombele will have better stats and will just be a better person in the team. That's what you want. I don't expect him to score 10, 15 goals from midfield. But again, we've seen it before. We know what he can do if he's given the chance. So let's hope he gets those chances more often, because I don't want to see Højbjerg and Skip as a midfield two the whole season. I want to see Lo Celso play more, and I want to see Ndombele play more.
That's fair enough. Michael, any comment?
Yeah, no, I've always said for a while now, I want to see them Ndombele 10, 15 yards further up the pitch. I think he could be so much more useful. You can see the talent he's got. You know, he's got a great pass, and you can see passes that other people don't see. He can slip people into play. He could be the pass before the assist on a lot of occasions. For me, though, if he wants to leave or he wants to stay, he's got to knuckle down either way, because no one's going to buy the Ndombele that we're seeing at the moment. So he's not going to get that move that he wants. And if he wants to stay and knuckle down and make it at Tottenham, he's got to do that. So either way, he's got to get his head in the game and get on the training pitch and get himself sorted, whether he wants to leave or not. But I hope we see the best of Ndombele at Tottenham.
Yeah, well,
I hope so.
I hope we do, because when he plays, when he does what he can do, we know he can be a player and he could really enhance that team. But look, thank you very much, all of you, for giving up your time and joining us tonight. Holly, thanks for coming on, despite bringing that blow up thing. Let's have a closer look at him.
We'll have a closer look. Hang on.
What do you even do with that? Is it inflatable?
I mean, that sounds like a very dodgy question. No, it's not inflatable. It's a cushion. It is a cushion. So my other half thought it'd be funny to buy me that for Christmas. So you can blame him for that always being on the screen.
I think the cheese room should get together and get one for Caller's daughter.
No.
That would be good. She could fall asleep looking into Harry Winks' face every night.
No. Mind you, if I need someone to change a nappy, it could come in useful. Michael, again, thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's been fun. Better quizzes next time, Dave.
You can come again. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
No, thanks for having me. Cheers.
HG, again, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for coming, everyone. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's always fun.
Absolutely. And Shan, it's been emotional as ever.
It's always emotional when it comes to the cheese room. Next time, try not to insult everyone, Caller.
I won't, I promise. And in the meantime, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Go ahead.